So that is the, so if you look at the difference between the natural gas versus liquid petroleum gas. So this is the natural gas, basically made from methane. That's naturally formed methane as the natural gas. Later we convert into the liquid form under low temperatures to become liquid natural gas. And the LPG is the liquid petroleum gas. That's the that's the gas produced in the oil refineries as a byproduct, and that's the LPG. Right? So the LPG is always a mixture of propane and butane. That percentage will vary, but the energy contained in the butane is higher than the propane. So now these days, this mixture of butane and propane is huge, something in the news after this gas explosion or some sort of issues in the cooking gas, right, or the LPG. What they call as they have changed the composition of propane and butane. I don't remember actually prices of one of the, maybe butane is higher than propane or the other vice versa. So they try to balance the costs. So they have changed this composition. Butane has low energy. I think because of the pressure also higher, maybe it's butane, if I'm right. So that might be one of the reasons why they explode. But I mean, this explosion in the gas cylinders or in the burners is not a new concept. It has been in the all over the world, right? But increased incident of gas explosions is the problem. But you see, with all these issues, the companies doing the business as usual, just like nothing happened, right? If this happened in a developed country, right, they will recall all the gas, right, and including all the gas cylinders, and they will ask the companies to make the replacement. But in a Sri Lankan situation, it's practically you can't do one way because it's going to affect the whole the day-to-day activities. But if you think of the safety, this is extremely bad from the government side and also from the company side, right? Because from the product that they are selling, they are putting the people into risk, even can be deadly. It's a huge criminal offense. But the company or the government did nothing on this. It's extremely bad from both the government and the company side. And I didn't see even any excuse from the company side. It's nothing wrong with them. It's something to do with the users. It's something wrong with the gas burners. It's old or something. But I mean, we have been used these gas burners for so many years. Why it is now? So these are the things, you know, the government institutes, right? They do nothing on this. As they could have fine and do some investigation, scientific investigation, proper, and then do who did wrong. It's the users or the company. Right? Still today, we don't know. Is it our fault for as a consumer, or is it the fault from the company? No one knows. But we have already forgotten things, and now we are back into the business as usual. Just like think that nothing happened, and thing continues. This is the situation in Sri Lanka right now. After the wars and all these the Saharan situations, right? The people, even the COVID, People so panic when things happen, and after several weeks or months time, we back to normal, and we continue the business as usual, but we don't investigate what happened, and we don't do anything to stop or to eliminate this kind of situation in future. We don't do anything. I mean, we as a consumer or as a government or that's a government institute, they don't do anything. It's so unfortunate in this country. Not only the rulers, actually, the government institutes who are responsible for this, they have a mandate. If the government is not doing this, right, they have the power. Why not? The government institutes, they can take decisions, but they don't do anything as well. That's all. These are politics, you see, and we don't know how much money behind on these situations. And you see, then the Samsung phones, they had some issue until Samsung Note 7 had a problem with their battery explosions, couple of batteries explosion in the world. So recall all the batteries in the world, right? So they spend all the money, they paid for that one, they recall the batteries and send the replacement, right? And the Toyota company, they had some issues with their cars in the braking system. So that batch, they recalled all the cars. On their own expense, they do this because it's bad for the brand name. Right? There can be some fault, but they have to correct it. But in our country, the problems are everywhere, but we don't correct it and then let it go and then let it happen in the future as well. Right? Never learn lessons from the past. And this is so unfortunate in this country. Never ever learn lessons from the future in the history. History become history, right? And then we forget about the history and then let it go. One way it's good, we can keep the business as usual, but the problem is we get the same issue again and again, and it's never going to end. And that's a bad part. That's something we have to think of as a country. Unfortunately, that's something we personally, I can't do, but that's as the citizens that we have to do something, right? To change this system, right? This utterly bitter politics in this country, right? No party in this government has shown any sign of a change. I don't think in the future as well, right? We don't see, and we don't have actually leaders in this country. We don't have visionary thinkers, same as the leaders. Even the citizens are not visionary, right? We just are just the followers. But unfortunate, right? So that's the situation, right? So anyway, now we talk about this liquid natural gas or the LNG. Now the Sri Lankan government now recently is looking for in Cheruvalutipiti area to have a power plant 300 or 350 megawatt is, if I remember, 300 megawatt new power plant using LNG, that's the liquid natural gas, which the American company, they have given the bid to provide the necessary LNG for this power plant to run. You know this story. I mean, this is not anything hidden. And the concept behind is they will have a floating ship like this. It's called FSRU, not the name of the ship, but this technology or the system is called floating storage and degasifying unit, right? Which is the LNG will transform on another ships, and it will be transferred to this ship. This ship has it's a sort of a factory. They can convert this LNG back into gas, and then they can store as an degasifying, right? And they form the gas again and pump into the power plant they are going to build in the Kerawalapiti, right? So that's the idea about this the thing. That they're going to have this kind of a power plant. Actually one of the power plant already built. It can be run in both LNG as well as diesel, right? From both diesel and LNG. So same engine can be used to run in the both. For the moment they are running in the diesel, but they can change into LNG, which is more environmental friendly, as they call. Because methane once burned into, like just the form just the water vapor, but of course they produce carbon dioxide as well. Right, so the company in the news is this one. So they are the one who taken the bid. They are the one who going to have the FSRU, and bit of a controversial issue, but anyway, it doesn't matter it's controversial or not. They're going to have this power plant built. All the things behind are happening already. Now they even preparing for the environmental impact assessment for these particular things, where they're going to have a FSRU north of Colombo port, where already there's some of the gas pipelines are a little bit further north, where they're going to have the FSRU, and they will have some pipeline running from the ship to the Kerawalapiti area, and run directly into the power plant. That's the plan, which they have to come through the about maybe 4 or 5 kilometers. They have to come through the sea floor, the pipeline, and cross some of the reef areas and get to the shore before going into the power plant. So that's the whole idea. I don't know any of you have interest on this, right? Because it's been in the news. I don't watch all the news, but I know some information from here and there about this issue, because it's not the issue about the FSRU or the power plant, but the issue that discussing is about the deal between the government and the company. How they have given this to a particular company, that's the issue. But I think anyway, it's all these are politics, but country needs firm energy anyway. But this is where we have to balance between the environment as well as the development, right? So personally, as a marine ecologist, I would like ocean to be intact or without any change. It should be the same as that. But as responsible citizens, on the other hand, so we need to have some room for development as well, right? Ecological point, there shouldn't be any developments. Let the ocean be intact, the natural resources, natural capital be intact. But if I talk in that way, it's extremely bad, because as a citizen, I use energy to my day-to-day activities. So this energy comes from, of course, from the natural or the renewable sources as well as from this kind of a power plant as well. So if I am a user, so if I am talking about against this one, I don't think I have that kind of a right, or I'm not a responsible citizen then. So that's why we have to balance between these two. So if I don't use any energy, I'm totally independent from all this, then I can actually talk about this. But in reality, actually, I'm not really a consumer in terms of energy, but I am a producer because I have my own solar system with a backup. So which I sell some amount of energy to back to the CEB. In that sense, I'm not actually a consumer energy, rather producer, right? So in that sense, actually, but that's in my home, but I use the energy outside of the home at the university. So anyway, even I use the transportation, I use the petrol to fuel my car, right? So I'm not totally independent. So we can't be independent. So all the activities run in the energy. So in that, we have to be a bit responsible. And so if I'm going totally against this kind of thing, it's something I'm doing extremely bad, and I don't think we have right to do that one. So that's why I'm bit neutral, as well as I'm not really neutral. Even actually, I mean, I'm personally, I do help even sometimes. I mean, not really help, but even for the Noracholi, we have done environmental monitoring, right? So, but we are supporting the power plant to at least to make it better, right? How to make it environmental friendly, right? Of course, you can't avoid the pollution, but you can minimize, right? You can get rid of, but you can minimize, right? So when preparing environmental impact assessment and the monitoring, we do a lot of underwater surveys, and we sometimes direct them to make it better, right? And I usually don't talk against this development, which I don't think I have a right to do that one. And even for this FSRU, perhaps I might will be involved in the environmental impact assessment as well. So that is my part. I will do the environmental assessment. At least I will say what kind of environment is there, and then we will do some underwater surveys, and we will guide them. We will inform them how they can do this one with minimum cost to the environment, right? And that's the only thing that we can do from our side, and we have no right to stop or promote this. I'm never promoting this, as well as I'm not going against this kind of development as well, right? Oh, I can't say neutral as well, but at least we will help in this kind of a development, right? If it is necessary something, then to build, then or the SC government or the CEB to build, then at least we'll assist and will help them to minimize the environmental costs. So right, that's the my stand on this aspect, right? Right. If I think out of the box as the marine ecologist, of course there is a ecological cost as well as economical cost, especially for the fishing communities as well. And that's where we have to distinguish, or we have to talk about something called the spatial planning, marine spatial planning, right? Which we will discuss later. It's already at 10 o'clock. I think you might have another lecture, right? So, so that's all for the day. Hope you got something on the oil and gas as a resource, some little bit of politics, as well as the story behind some of the developments as well, which is not all scientific, but also there are a lot of politics as well, which you need to know, right? So that's all for the day.